Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Snapshots. It's the TRR segment, which we talk to the people who make the entertainment world go round. Now, on this edition, back in 2022, our guest was recognized as Canada's top 100 Black women to watch, and she has done some dynamic performances over the course of her career. In fact, you may have seen her recently in 2024 with Apple TV Plus's The Big Cigar, the Hallmark Channel's The Way Home, and if you're a Star Trek fan like me, you have seen her helm the mighty Starship Enterprise as Lieutenant Amin on the third season of Star Trek Discovery. I am absolutely. I am so honored to be talking with a Canadian Screen Award-winning actress, creator, writer, and a very great colleague in the biz, Samora Smallwood. Samora, it's finally an honor to have you here on Snapshots.
Thank you, Dean. What an intro. I appreciate that so much. It's always strange to hear yourself introduced in the stuff that you've been up to, but we both have that in common, the hustler spirit, and there's a lot to do. And I feel very blessed to get to do what I do. And I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so excited to tell you, especially, I cannot tell you how much excitement I have felt that we are finally talking on my platform about your career. And folks, you're welcome. A couple of side notes for my people who are listening. I truly love this woman for not only on my 43rd birthday this year, she has gave me a video call wishing me happy birthday. And I tell you, that's one of the highlights of my birthday this year. So I'm excited. But before that, I wrote to her a long time ago about her Trek character that she was featured, and she featured it in social media. I mean, to say that we have a great connection is an understatement, I tell you, folks.
Absolutely. I had that in my calendar to remember to make the video for you for your birthday because you want to support the people who support you. And when you sent me that letter about the impact of seeing me play Lieutenant Amin, and I loved Trek for years before I had been on the show. It was so touching and so meaningful and just like a surprise.
Yeah.
Because life is beautiful that way. There's people that you look up to, and then when someone is inspired by or touched by your own work, it's a beautiful cycle to be in and be in alignment and flow. So yes, our connection is real. We are actual friends, and I have that letter in one of my books. I have a book of manifested stuff. It's like my little magic book.
Well, I'm so glad to hear it. And I'm going to make sure when your birthday comes in December, I'm going to give you a call on your birthday.
Thank you. Sagittarius vibes,
You're welcome. Absolutely. Well, you're Sagittarius. I'm right next door to Aquarius. So not too far.
That's a very good sign. And Aquarius is an excellent sign.
Absolutely. So before we go into Trek, I want to talk a little bit more about the rest of your career, because I must admit that when it comes to people who I've had the pleasure of watching over the years, that you hope to interview them, and the time has finally come for all of us, for both of us. In fact, you recently posted videos about your coming home journey, and you mentioned that coming home is the divine journey outside your comfort zone, and even in theory, it gives you the willies. But it's so easy to be in your comfort zone that some people, I know I had that time in my life, which it takes me a while to get out of my comfort zone, but once I get out of it, it's a great blessing. So tell us, how did you start with the coming home journey for our viewers and listeners?
Oh, thank you for asking about the coming home journey. So my personal coming home journey, and just coming home means you're to yourself. Home is you. Home is yourself, no matter where you are in the world. So that is coming home. And, when you talk about getting outside of your comfort zone, it's really important to not only get outside of your comfort zone, but to really get in tune with confidence and your self-worth, and to be empowered in trusting your instincts, your divine inner guidance, and that you, no matter where you come from, no matter what happened to you, you are worthy of your dreams and you have the ability to manifest them. That's where it started for me. And then it had been on my heart for a while because, in the entertainment industry and even the world at large, there's a lot going on that we're seeing that can be very difficult and get you more disconnected from who you are, your path, and your purpose. So the coming home community is a group of people that I've brought together. We now have 100 members. We just hit 100 members this week. I can't believe it. And I can't believe it. I promised God, Spirit, Universe, I was going to stop saying I can't believe it. I can believe it. It's phenomenal. It is very touching. We have 100 members at this point. So the coming home community is something that was on my heart for some time as I embarked on my own coming home journey, which just means coming home to my power. Right? We're all a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And the coming home community is designed by me to help us step into our power, have more confidence, use our authentic voice, get rid of people pleasing, seeking approval and external validation, and learn to finally let go of the patterns and beliefs that are holding us back. And taking care of our mental health and your mindset is so important, especially in today's world where we are really the first generation and it's the first time in humanity where we have so much access to international news, what other people all over the world are doing. And there's a lot coming at us and we have more responsibility than ever. So mental health and mindset is a huge part of coming home. And I call our coming home community members brave explorers because in order to manifest to manifest your dreams and achieve your goals, you have to lose sight of the shore. You have to go into the new part of the woods. So that circles back to what you were saying about comfort zones. And that's where I feel like, we hold ourselves back is when we get anxious or nervous, we need to learn how to distinguish between that feeling of excitement and adrenaline that comes from actually going outside your comfort zone, AKA what I call the new part of the woods. So the next time any of your listeners or viewers or you, Dean, or me feels that flutter in your chest or that nervousness or anxiety when you're going into an interview, you're going outside of your comfort zone, you're taking a risk, you're taking a bet on yourself, you're doing something new, or you go before people you think are AKA like quote unquote higher than you. They have the ability, they have more power, the ability to hire you, fire you, change your life, whatever. Whenever you're in that situation and you have the little flutter, just touch base with yourself and say, I'm a brave explorer. I'm going into the new part of the woods. And when I go outside my comfort zone, that's when I can invite new abundance into my life. So that's coming home. Thank you for asking.
I love it. I really love it, especially you have put to words, put it to the reality. You have 100 members. And after hearing that, I would love to become a member. Hopefully it's a United States or a worldwide thing, not just a Canada thing. So I definitely want to become a member.
Please join. So if you are listening and you would like to join the coming home community, you're ready to be your most authentic and unapologetic self, find me on social media at Samora Gloria is my personal page. I am a small business owner as well. The Actors Work Studio is the other place you can find coming home. I have a team in place that helps me run it. And Dean, we actually have international members in coming home because we do a gathering every month for coming home community members where we focus on the exercises and practices for you to take into your daily life to be your most empowered self. And we do a version on Zoom. So on our last call, we had someone from the UK, someone from Jamaica. We've had people from all over the place. It's going to be a revolution. 100 members is just the beginning.
Exactly. I mean, once you get your first taste of 100 members or subscribers or followers, you know you've done something right.
Thank you.
In fact, you mentioned earlier about your personal mantra, which I love so dearly, manifest your shit, which you said it means no matter where you come from, no matter what happened to you, you have the ability and the right to manifest your dreams. Tell us, what does that mantra mean to you first? And how did you come up with that mantra? When did you first use it?
Thank you. I love this topic and this conversation because manifestation is so near and dear to my heart. And I know it can sound a little woo-woo, especially if you've never had any experience with visualization or manifestation, but it is so real. So for me, I came up with the term manifest yo shit because I wanted something that felt like it included everyone and that I could belong to. Because, when I first embarked in this arts career, I studied theater in university, and I've always been very passionate about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I'm really that girl who wants to include everybody. If I go to a place or a party and there's someone who is a wallflower or shy, I go out of my way to include that person because that's who I wanted and needed when I was young. And that's who I was as a kid. So when I started to get to transition from theater into film and TV acting, I really needed to develop a practice that could empower myself, help me stay positive and be optimistic. And then when I reached out online to look for thought leaders and experts in the manifestation area and in positivity, for me, and I'm just going to be totally transparent, it felt like a very privileged space. And it felt in many ways a very white space. So I felt further othered. I actually felt further away from it. I remember I was doing this meditation on this one thought leader in the space, and she's fine. But she's in this palatial mansion with all these pillars, someone's swimming laps in the background in her pool, and she's talking about, and I just felt so far removed from that world and so far removed from the ability to connect the dots of where I was at right there, I would be able to get there. So anyway, manifestio shit is for us and by us. It really does mean no matter where you come from, no matter what happened to you, you do have the right and the ability to manifest your dreams. And you mentioned my Canadian Screen Award win earlier. You don't always have rock star confidence. That day I was so nervous. I literally did not think I was going to win. And my mom came from a different city. She brought all these balloons, flowers. She had this catered like lunch thing at my condo. And she was like, "You've already won for your nomination." And I'll never forget, like an hour before the ceremony, my mom said, "Just write a speech." Right. Just write a speech. And I'm so glad I listened to her, because I was able to articulate clearly in that moment that part of manifestio shit is knowing that you and everything you get to do in your life is showing up for your ancestors and all of the people who came before you, who made sacrifices. They gave you the life you have. And maybe they didn't in their lifetime get to do what you do. Like, look at what you get to do. Right? You're driving all around, you're going to conventions, you're overworked in many ways. So am I. I don't know an entrepreneur who is not overworked. Holler if you hear me. But it's such a privilege to get to do what you do. You're following your passion and your heart light. And then, so I try to bring that into all of my work. That's a big part of manifestio shit, is when no matter how tired or I'm really working hard, I have a vision and a goal in my mind. If I'm like, oh, I get to do this thing, the women who came before me, that the people who came before me, they're rooting me on. And because our ancestors gave us more than trauma and grief. So that's a part of manifestio shit. It's for us, by us. And you do a small step every single day to get closer to your goals. You have faith and belief in your worthiness of it. That's a part of what made me create Coming Home. Yeah. The community was, you have to believe you're worthy of it. God, spirit, universe does. They are rooting you on and are co-conspiring with you to create your dreams. So you have to believe in yourself and do the work that really recognizes the stuff you're good at, how you make people feel. It's just beautiful and magical. And it's a huge part of my life. So faith, belief, and then hard work.
And look where you are now. You are killing it, especially to say that you are a busy woman is an understatement. You got a lot of roles that you went through, especially since our non-Star Trek fans are familiar with you as Monica Hill on the amazing series on the Hallmark Network, The Way Home, which you've done for 2 seasons so far. And from what I heard, it's coming back for a 3rd season. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Nice.
I love it.
So what is it about Monica that spoke to you directly that you must play this role and be this character?
It's so exciting. So the coolest thing about The Way Home on Hallmark is Hallmark really took a risk in creating something a lot more cinematic. It's got real story, real themes that matter, breaking generational curses, female friendship and bonding. And if you have not watched The Way Home and you're like, oh, I don't know, I've never watched anything on Hallmark, or you think you know what Hallmark represents, this is so different. The Way Home is really special. That said, we have a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Ooh. Someone recently told me that, and I was like, no, that can't be, because I'm a Rotten Tomatoes girly, but I get so, and maybe people can relate to this. I know a lot of my actor friends can. When it's your projects and your work, it's sometimes like a little bit embarrassing to really watch yourself on screen or whatever. So I love Rotten Tomatoes because I'm love film and TV. And someone recently told me that that The Way Home had a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is really earned. It's such a good show, and everyone can watch it together. When it comes to Monica, what I love about Monica is that she's also a businesswoman. She has a lot of confidence. She's the hub and the community hub in this town in the show, but she's also really confident. And this is a part of the coming home journey as well. And the most beautiful part about being an actor is you get to step into someone else's shoes, and you have to imagine what their life is like. Right. And it really helps you become more free. And I've been so blessed to play a number of roles in a row that I've been called on to be very bold and very confident, starting with the Kings of Napa on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Yes. And then Monica on The Way Home, The Big Cigar on Apple TV. It just launched. You have to see it. It takes place in the 70s. Yes. You love the 70s clothes, the look, the earth, wind, and fire of it all. Oh yes. So Monica on The Way Home, we're coming back for season 3. I'm so excited. There's an entire website website dedicated to Monica's fashion.
What?
It's amazing. Every outfit I've worn on the show is on this website. It's so cool. I love playing Monica because she started out as the frenemy of the lead character played by Supergirl's Kyler Lee. She also was on Grey's Anatomy. She played the lead sister, and she's such a good actor, and it's so fun doing scenes with her. And we started out as frenemies, and for me it was really important when you play women on screen, especially as a woman of color, that you look for the nuance. So I remember talking to the producers in the beginning about where was the character going to go, and I would always layer into the scene that even if she is a frenemy, where's that beef come from? What insecurities does she maybe have? What are the areas where she's willing to call someone out on their BS? Because that's the kind of woman I like in real life. So that's what I brought to Monica. And I want to give so much credit to the writing, the showrunners, that whole team, that they really take into account your real values and your real personality. So when I get the scripts, and so far the season 3 scripts, you get to see all of that come to life. And it feels so good. I'm so grateful for that. That's one of the things I'm most grateful for, is getting to see what they've noticed about you and who you are, and they put that into the character. It's a beautiful thing.
That's great. And have you started filming the 3rd season yet?
That's a secret.
Okay. Not going to go anymore. But you did give me a good segue, because we did talk briefly about the Big Cigar. I mean, Andre Holland, I remember interviewing him for Moonlight several years ago, and to go from Moonlight to playing Huey P. Newton on Apple TV Plus, and working with Don Cheadle, who, let's say, for both of us as African-American actors, is a dream to work with, especially since he did The Wonders, and I'm sad that was canceled, especially considering the son is named Dean. And I remember interviewing Dule Hill, and I told him, "Hi, Dad," and he said, "You're Dean, right?" I said, "Yes, I'm Dean."
Nice.
So talk to us about working on that beautiful project, The Big Cigar, and what can folks look forward to with that one?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first and foremost, Apple TV is a mysterious place. They do not advertise the way other streamers do. I guess that's a part of their power.
Yeah.
The Big Cigar is on Apple TV right now. It is one of the most affordable streamers out there. They have such good stuff. But working on The Big Cigar was a beautiful labor of love, because the creator of the series, Janine Sherman Burwa, has recently been named by The Hollywood Reporter as one of the top Black showrunners in Hollywood to know. She is a force. She also created the Kings of Napa, which I play Maddie Brewer on the Kings of Napa. And so her company, Folding Chair Productions, is really committed to telling stories that center Black voices in a fresh new way and usurping stereotypes. So I feel completely and utterly blessed to have worked with her and consider her now a friend and mentor. So when The Big Cigar came around, it was just a total blessing. And talk about manifesto shit energy is in my acting class, because I'm that girl who's always training. I love Angela Davis. She is one, I have so many books on this bookshelf behind me here. Angela Davis is one of the coolest people in history. And when I went in for my hair and makeup test for the show, there was a few naturals, like, Afro wigs that we were going to wear on this show. And the second one that Ryan Reed, the hair god, who did the hair on Star Trek, the entire team from The Big Cigar, the hair and makeup team from The Big Cigar is the team from Trek. That's why I like the skin. If you watch Star Trek and you see how beautiful everyone looks, but just so believable, and it's like heightened reality, that is what you will see in The Big Cigar. It is so well thought out. So I got to work with my entire Star Trek team on The Big Cigar. And the second they put the wig on my head, we knew it's the one. And I cannot tell you, he pulls the box off of the shelf, and a big sticker on the side said Angela Davis. I guess the hair was inspired by Angela Davis. And I had been working on Angela Davis in my acting class for months, because we were tasked with picking a real life figure that we respected and admire and putting up a scene. So it's just those synchronicities that I see as signs from God's spirit in the universe that, okay, you're on the right track, you're doing the right thing. So The Big Cigar, you find out that you're going to work with Andre Holland, who you interviewed for Moonlight. When I saw him in Moonlight, I was like, wow, this is the real deal. And he was in this great show, The Eddie, as well. He's such a good actor. And I saw that Moses Ingram, phenomenal talent. There are so many people who, I'm only thinking of her character's name now, Teresa Dixon. the Hunters. She's such a good actor. And Nine Perfect Strangers. I can't remember that now, but she was a really, really, the whole team was amazing. But my scenes are all with Andre Holland. And what I will say is watching him work and how much he cared about the character, and the energy on the set was the truly magical thing, because we would be the Black Panther party and we would be 60 deep. One of the scenes that I have in the show is a Black Panther meeting where Huey P. Newton is trying to say, aside from vigilance and violence, I have a dream for Black people in this country, and it's education, and it's a breakfast program. It's letting children know we care about them and they matter. There's a different way. Oh my God, I just got goosebumps. It is such a beautiful story. And then we going to set 50 of us dressed as Black Panthers, going to set, and people coming out of their houses in the streets to be like, what's going on? What's going on? You felt this energy, this importance, and you knew, wow, like you really got a glimpse of what it must have been like for the real Black Panther Party. Andre Holland is inimitable. He is one of one. The performance is so stunning. What he's able to do with just a look is unbelievable. He's really kind as well on set, extremely educated. It was the dream. A dream project, like truly.
Excellent. Well, I'm so glad to hear it. And I know with the interview I had with him and the cast of Moonlight several years ago, they were very friendly, very kind, and I had a phenomenal time talking with him. I'm so glad that you had a great time working with him.
It was really, really great. And I mean, the costume designer for the show is Gersha Phillips, who does all of the costumes for Star Trek. So that is why everyone looks so good. She has an eye for making sure that everything is exactly right to the era, and the inspiration boards of every single person who is affiliated with the civil rights movement and the Black Panther Party. It was just such a beautiful moment for me, because I had been manifesting for some time to work with creators of color, Black creators at the top of their game on projects that matter to the community. And so it was back to back. I got to do some projects like that, and I just can't wait to expand more into it. The Big Cigar on Apple TV is amazing. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen when it comes time for Emmy voting. The show was not eligible this year. The Way Home was up for Emmys, but the next year, there's rules and stuff about the deadlines for when the show airs, but next year, I expect to see the show and Andre Holland recognized. It's really, really special.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's funny that you mentioned Gersha Phillips, because I actually wrote to her on the set of Discovery, and unfortunately she didn't write back because she was working on a little-known film called The Woman King. And they sent me a t-shirt from the costume department. So that was nice of her, nice of them to send me that.
Wow.
I was like, to go from that to The Woman King, and then I interviewed Viola Davis, and let me tell you, I was a nervous freaking wreck to talk to Queen Viola Davis. It's like her and me on the same space. It's like, don't lose your shit.
Yeah, do not lose your shit. But those are the moments where you see how powerful you are. Those are coming home moments. You're like, oh, wow, I am. And in many ways, I find the most welcoming people and the biggest stars actually treat you like an equal. And they see you as so valuable. Do they not?
Definitely do. 100%. And speaking of continuing roles, just a week ago, you had your Toronto premiere of Sarah at the 22nd Female Eye Film Festival. Even though it's a short film, it carried a powerful message, because you created a character that we know very little about, and yet she's immediately relatable. You've done such a great job communicating your struggle, the inner pain, the suffering, the fear, and when you receive that kindness from strangers and the breathe a sigh of relief, it was a great feeling that the audience will engage, will get to know you, even for such a brief time. It goes to show that even short films carry such a great weight. What led you to do that amazing project?
Thank you so much for the kind words about Sarah. The whole team, we're all so proud of it. It's really got legs, and there's some excellent development news about that I can't share, but I'm sprinkling. The project Sarah was so beautiful. It is the director and writer Jess Hinkson's true story.
Wow.
And that's what compelled me to do it. And she wrote me a beautiful letter at the beginning of the process, basically saying, I can't imagine anyone else for this role. And she had so much nice things to say about the performances she had seen me in and the kind of performer I am. And I do really try to put, whether I'm playing a small role, a lead role, a supporting role, I try to put as much heart in it as possible. So for her to recognize me in that way and send me this beautiful letter and say, would you consider doing my project? That really was the decision maker. So that tells you why there's so much heart in the story, because the leader of it is that kind of a person. So that's what made me want to do it. And it's her personal story of learning that she had been diagnosed with cancer while at the airport going to see her mom, who just had a stroke. So it's this moment in this woman's life where she's got all of this stuff coming at her and wondering how she's going to move forward despite setbacks, which I think is what makes it so relatable.
It really does. I mean, it reminds me so much of some of the struggles I had to go through. And yet, thanks to the kind of strangers, I was able to pull through. So this story is relatable no matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, and no matter what type of personal struggles you're going through. Tell us, what was the biggest challenge of playing Sarah? What was the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge of playing Sarah is that sometimes you play conversely to characters like my character on The Kings of Napa, The Big Cigar, and The Way Home, who are very bold, confident, outspoken women. Sarah is all of those things as well, but she's just gutted. She's going to learn in her 30s, she has to have a hysterectomy, and all her dreams about marriage and having children are kind of just in a flash gone. So for me, this is the thing. It's not normal to have those moments in front of an audience, and it's not normal to share your grief and vulnerability with quote unquote strangers. So for me, it was really important to create the complete backstory, do a lot of research into what women who are actually dealing with that are going through, so that when you do get on set, all of those human defense mechanisms that come into play when you're about to be vulnerable in front of strangers fall away, and then you're just focused on telling the truth of the story. And that's what was the most important thing to me, not showing off, not delivering a beautiful performance. And I mean, the reviews for Sarah have been unbelievable. So many kind things said about my performance, but it was only possible through trusting, letting your guard down. And that's the beautifulest thing about being an artist, is it will give you life lessons, because then you play a role like Sarah and you learn to let your guard down in real life, because that performance is only possible when you're like, this is her true story. She's here directing it and watching it, and she went through this. This is her real life. So I don't want to be fake. I'm not going to try and manipulate anything. I'm just going to step into this moment in her life and just let my heart break a little. And in real life, the people that I find I gravitate towards the most are those people who are honest and authentic, just like you.
Thank you. I really appreciate the compliment. Absolutely. And you've done so much work, and you're doing so much work. I mean, you're producing a short, Fire and Power. You're writing for Coming Home, which is in pre-production, as we mentioned earlier. You were announced recently for the addiction drama Disrepair on the Canadian streaming network TV1. But one of the projects I'm looking forward to is Saffron, which you wrote, you produced, you starred in. For those who have not seen it yet and are going to see it in the near future, tell us what it's all about, to make the mouth water once again.
Ooh, okay. Saffron is basically, it's a vampire kicking ass story. The lead character is a woman called Saffron, who was inspired by this lady who I found out through my love of comics, and especially my love of Blade, was Blade's wife, and she's the mother of Blade's daughter. And Eric, aka Blade, when he absconds and has to go do his vampire daywalker fighting mission, he leaves her with all of these weapons. So that was the inspiration for it. And then my director, Vanessa Magic, is a friend. I reached out to her. I said, let's do this thing. I'm going to produce it. I'm going to star in it. And I'm going to learn all of these stunts. And she directed it. She loves that genre as well. So that's what Saffron is she's a mother who is a daughter of... her daughter is Blade's child. So she's got special powers, and I need to protect this girl. And so she's got this treasure trove of weapons, and she learns how to kick ass. And when Saffron is available for people to see, it's really important to me that we get to see women kicking ass, but not just women kicking ass, women who are badasses, but maintain their quote unquote femininity. Saffron's motivation is to protect her family, to protect her community, to be a good mother, stuff like that. And to see a woman of color at the lead of an action story is another thing I'm really passionate about. So we
Yes.
are currently developing Saffron. It is a short. It's been so well reviewed. It premiered at the Blood in the Snow Film Festival. People were cheering and yelling. I think everybody loves a good vampire story, especially one that's got action. The action sequences in it, I'm really proud of. And interesting note, my co-star in it is an actress who has played a number of characters on Star Trek, Ava Blackwell.
Yes, I know her. I know who she played.
Star
Excellent.
Trek family in the house.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that just later on in a bit because you also have a production company, your own, Hold One Entertainment, which has a slate of TV and film projects in various stages. And that includes your first TV series, which you're writing, you're producing, you're directing, you're starring in when the cameras roll in October. Give us a taste of what we can expect from your own production company.
Thank you. Well, the industry is changing so much, and it's been my passion. I started the production company Hold One Entertainment years ago, and myself and my partner are very excited about creating projects that are intersectional, that feature Black voices, Black women, and also just creativity as a whole. And especially in the genres of the crime, thriller, mystery, and we're exploring into comedy. The show that my first green light, I got picked up by Canada's network, Bell TV1. And the show is called Coming Home, just like the Coming Home community. So talk about manifesto shit energy.
Yes.
Coming Home, the show is very much a love letter to all of the people who maybe haven't, like life knocks you down a little bit and maybe you haven't achieved what you thought you would by a certain age or a certain point in your life. And it's about this central character, Sam, who discovers that she is going to have to tap into who she really is and see what it was she thought mattered in life and then what really matters in life. So that coming home journey in the show is saying that, life will knock you down, but you will have a chance to come home to who you really are and make an impact and maybe realize along the way that all the stuff you thought was important and you were supposed to do isn't real. What's real is your family, your friends, and your purpose. So that is what the show is about. It is a 4-part miniseries. It's a comedy drama. There's some really, really funny stuff in it. There's a love triangle as well. For me as a female audience member, when you step into a little bit of the rom-com genre, I love a good love triangle. And in my show, I get to feature a lot of the things that are true to my life, which is I have interracial parents. So a Black father and a white mom. And, I'm so ethnically ambiguous. It comes up all of the time. And Meghan Markle used to talk about that. I was never white enough. I was never Black enough. And in this industry, it's really important to me that we move away from that box checking diversity and we just accept people for who they are. And we understand that nuanced diversity is a thing. So that's one of the big features of the show. I have a love triangle, 2 very handsome actors, 1 African actor, 1 white and part Indigenous actor. It is going to be a girl's dream to smooch, hug, boss around, fall in love with, break up with, tell off, come back together with in this show. So I'm really, really excited.
Well, I'm so excited for you and I'm so proud of you. And it's like
thank you.
Every time
and a little scared. I'm excited, but a little bit scared.
And you know what? It's okay to be scared because when I started this magazine, which has now been 15 years now, I've been scared so many times about the risk I've taken, about the people I'm reaching out to do interviews and cover red carpet. And if they'll, I'm not the Washington Post, I'm not the Baltimore Sun Times, I'm not any of the major networks, but yet it's amazing that through 15 years of hard work, dedication, and a lot of crazy risk that we have achieved what we've done so far. I have a team of 20 people now. We've been around for 15 years. I've conducted thousands of interviews. And the reason why I keep going because it's like, okay, who's the next person we're going to interview? Who's the next story I'm going to bring forth to the table? Who's the next one that's going to make me potentially lose my show?
Wow, congratulations. I just want to hold space for that for a minute. 15 years. That's a major accomplishment. Yeah. And it's so true what you said about taking a risk. Like, I think that piece of fear that is involved in this series of mine that I'm going to direct for the first time And I've directed shorts, but I'm going to direct a series and it's my vision and I'm show running for the first time. I think when you do anything new and you're taking a risk, there has to be that fear piece. I don't think you're risking enough. I don't think it's a big enough goal if you're not scared. So for you, that you have that feeling, that recurring feeling of, can I pull it off? Who am I going to interview next? And that was actually one of the first things that made me really trust you, because we're in the digital world and you look up people when they reach out to you and they want to connect. And every time that you interview someone, whether it's an important civil rights or political leader, a thought leader, or a star, the energy they seem to have with you is in good flow. So that, to me, right away, I was like, oh, this person must have good energy, because I'm big on energy. Energy is the biggest and most important currency. And you seem to have that impact on people, make people feel seen. And that's why you get these interviews with so many amazing people. So present company included or excluded, that is not a flex. That is the other people that you've interviewed.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I have to thank my professor, Dr. Thomas at Bowie State University, who gave me the best advice I have carried with me throughout this lengthy career. He told me, never treat the star as the star when you interview. You treat them as if they were your best friend. You haven't seen them for a while. You're finally catching up. You're just shooting the shit. You're just talking, having fun, relaxing. Don't treat this as a serious interview. Treat this as it was a normal conversation between two friends.
That is the best advice. That is clearly advice you took to the bank.
Yeah.
And thank goodness your professor gave it to you and you learned it early in life, because that's exactly it. And that's one of the core principles of the Coming Home community, as well as the lead character in the Coming Home series, is I call it pedestaling. When you put anyone on a pedestal, it's from an inherent idea that you are less than, and it doesn't put people at ease, yourself or others. So that makes total sense that your ethos for interviewing people, no matter what they've accomplished in life, is that this is a best friend that you haven't seen in a while and you're catching up and you're just shooting the shit. That's so great. I love it. I keep meeting people and having conversations that are completely in alignment with what's going on. So that's how I think we're doing the right thing here. I think we're on the right path.
Absolutely. And it always, for me as a journalist growing up, because I was a shy kid growing up and I had a speech impairment, that I had to thank my 3 speech pathologists who gave me the news as my outlet and game shows as my outlet and Star Trek as my outlet to really better myself. And when I learned the news and research all the people I have to interview, no matter if it's they just started or they're totally well known, I told them everyone is on an equal path as far as me, because I want to know their story. I'd like to know their questions. I like to know their personal life, not just what they've done in professional. I want to know their personal life a little bit, because it makes them feel human at the end of the day. That's all I want. I want to see the human aspects of everyone I interview, not just that they make $1 million or they're the best thing in the world, but what do they do when they're not filming, when they're not shooting, when they're not writing, when they're not composing. I want to know what they're like, just a normal everyday human being.
You want to know what I am like as an everyday human being?
Of course.
I am the snack queen. I love food. So I am very excited to make a treat tonight. I don't know what it's going to be, but I love to go shopping for delicious, yummy ingredients and make something, because when you are busy, you don't get to cook every day anymore. So that's what I like to do. I love to read. I love to read. I'm reading Bob Odenkirk's book right now. It's such a good book. Ooh. I especially love it's interesting to hear that you love history too, because I'm that history girl. I love to hear like what historical figures were like behind the scenes. And I'm a very active person, like physically. I like to be outdoors, horseback riding, playing rugby. My nephews over the weekend taught me rugby, and it was so funny because children are harsh. They're very, very harsh. When they get to that age nowadays where they're like 12 years old, they will tell you about yourself. These young men told me about myself. But it was so much fun. And it surprises them when it's like auntie in like a skirt or whatever, or shorts, she's going to play like a kid. So I think that's if anyone doesn't know from, my public persona, how I really am, I'm just a big kid. So if you have an adventure that you want to go on, you have something physical that you want to go do, jump off a waterfall, try a new sport, I am down. I'm in.
Awesome. Well, the most recent crazy thing I've done recently for charity, they had this thing called 13 Stories of Hope, and they literally mean that I scaled down a 13-foot side of a hotel in Arlington, Virginia, and I was like, please let me lift this. But it was
That's an important
wonderful.
prayer.
But it was wonderful, and it was for charity. And speaking of knowing some of your real life stuff, you posted something that I just done once in my life, but for the first and only time I've done it so far, it was on the big island of Hawaii. You and I have ridden horses. In fact, yours was called Big Clyde, mine was called Red. Tell us about your horse riding, what got you into it, and what you like about it.
What got me into horseback riding? So my family in Newfoundland were farmers and had always had horses, but we moved away. We moved away when I was quite young. My father got an opportunity to come here. That is the least interesting part of the story. The most exciting part of the story is my first reintroduction into horseback riding was through equine therapy horses, and getting to visit the therapy horses. And I just fell in love with these two horses, and my family and I decided that we were going to sponsor them. And so you get to ride the horses. And the most important thing is being near these majestic animals. You get to learn a lot about yourself, because if you're scared, if you're insecure, if you're nervous, if they can smell your fear and they can smell your leadership. And that's how I knew that my horse was my guy, because the biggest horse, his name was Major. Like Big Clyde is my Toronto guy, but Major, this big, beautiful horse, just came right up to me. He came right up to me the first time I met him, put his head down like this. And it was like he was just saying, hey, we're friends. So I learned a lot about myself. So that's why I stay committed to it, because you have to not let them smell the fear. Oh my gosh, if anyone here is a House of the Dragon fan, I know it's a show that I'm not on, but it's the same thing. I just realized, oh my gosh, if you want to ride a dragon, if you're going to be a dragon rider, they can smell your fear. They can smell your arrogance. They can smell your energy. So that's what makes me love horseback riding, because you have to be in command. You have to learn a lot about yourself. It's like you're in charge.
Yeah.
And if you don't guide the horse, tell them no, we're not doing that. This is where we're going, and how you have to tell them, okay, now it's time to get a gallop. We're going to go faster. They can tell when you're not in control. And that's when you're actually like in danger. Because if they take over, that's a very powerful animal, and a really, really large animal. So I like it. It's a challenge. I love to be physical. Even in Saffron, the ass-kicking vampire slayer, to do stunts is another thing that I really, really love to learn how to do, because being physical and fighting and learning all of that choreography is such a challenge, because I'm a very physical person. I played basketball, I did shot put and track. I feel in tune with my body when I'm being physical. Yeah. And even when I was in Atlanta recently, because they film a lot of the Marvel films in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And when I was flying there to visit a friend, I happened to see this advertisement that the guys from Captain America were going to do a stunt day of sword fighting, this Cali sword fighting thing. So I'm the type of person who's on vacation, and I'm like, what should I do? Should I just like relax? Of course, I'm going to go visit Martin Luther King Jr.'s home and the center. Yep. But I'm like, should I relax, or should I go and get my ass kicked in this all-day workshop and learn sword fighting in Cali? And you already know what I picked, but I posted a video of that on my Instagram, and it was one of the coolest confidence building techniques, because I got to see, holy crap, you can learn this. You could be a sword fighter if you really just learn. So if there's ever a class that anyone is watching or listening and you're like, oh, I couldn't do Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'll get my ass kicked. No, those trainers in there are only gonna, when I say I got my ass kicked, it's like your brain is so focused, and you are learning that, like, you've got those swords in your hands and you have an opponent coming at you. You better be ready to win. Yeah, you better be ready to win. So my competitive ass comes out, and I'm like backing someone down, all in fun.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm like that same way. It's like every time I go on vacation, it's like, do I just want to relax? It's like, no, I like to visit the museums that are nearby. I like to see some of the local, I like to taste some of the local things that are happening. In fact, when I get to Toronto, you and I are definitely going to have to hang out and get some of that Toronto style. And that same goes to when you come to DC.
100%. I didn't know you the first time that I had been to DC, but I do now. You come to Toronto. If you're in the
Mhm.
mood to do arts and culture, you're in the mood
Yes.
to do something physical or an
Yes.
outdoor activity, or you just want to
Yes.
grab good food, I will 100% link up with you to do that. That's so funny that you say I'm like that too, because that's a very Aquarius trait. I'm a Sagittarius and we're very competitive and,
Mhm.
bold on our face.
Yeah,
Aquariuses are very quietly competitive. If you
that's
know
true.
an Aquarius, they're very, very quietly competitive people. So if you're going to play a game with an Aquarius, be ready. But if you're going to
Mhm.
play with a Sagittarius, you better have your together.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I would not be remiss if we did not talk about your journey being on the set of Star Trek in Pinewood Studios, Toronto. Yep, live long and
Yeah.
prosper. And I have my combat, since it's a combat I'm gonna be wearing this
Yeah.
weekend.
Nice.
Because like me while I was on Farragut, you played a Helm Officer Champion Client Lieutenant Amin on Star Trek Discovery and Short Trek's Q&A. Two questions here. First, we all know it's like both of us to walk on that stage, to put on that
Oh,
uniform as a
yeah.
fan, to walk onto that set and take it all in. That you are a character in an iconic franchise that spanned for generations. I
Mhm.
want you to share with us your experience on putting on that uniform, stepping onto the bridge of the Federation flagship, and being part of history. Talk about that experience.
It is awesome. As cool as you think it is, it's probably possibly even cooler. There's my little Lieutenant Amin statuette over there. A
Aw,
fan made it for me and sent it. She's got her own taser. Lieutenant Amin in and Star Trek in general. For years, I had said, because Pinewood Studios, as you mentioned, is in Toronto. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm going to get on this show because when I was a kid, my mom loved Star Trek. And
Aw,
I come from that interracial family, as I mentioned. So those themes that are so integral to what keeps Star Trek relevant and important were
mhm,
present in my life. Acceptance, belonging, working together with people who are different from you, trying to understand people who are different from you, and all of that beautiful stuff that resonated when we were kids. We were biracial kids growing up in Newfoundland, and my mom would always try and find ways to let us see Black people on TV. So, I
yeah.
mean, Uhura was that girl, and my mom would say that, look at this, and my mom would give me Baldwin. So, but enough about my mom. She hates my talk about her interviews. But that's the origin story of why I love Trek and why I made it so meaningful to walk onto the set. So, when it comes to franchises and huge historical projects like Star Trek or Marvel, there's a lot of secrecy around it. So when you
Mhm,
audition for a project like Star Trek, you don't know necessarily what's going on. There's code names and you don't know who you're talking to,
yeah.
and you have to do a lot of guesswork. But I'm that big believer. I was like, oh, I know who she is. I know who she is because that audition piece of being in conflict, I know the show. And if there's any artists listening or actors, do your research. We're so lucky to be in the age of YouTube and streamers where you can watch the show. What's it look like when they're in that conflict? And respect for leadership and a quest for excellence is so core to what Star Trek is, and that I put into Lieutenant Amin because it's
Yeah.
so who I am as well. And we did a series of auditions for it, but I knew in my heart I was going to book it.
Mhm.
And stepping onto the set it was unbelievable. Like, it's really hard to put into words because the studio is massive and the
Yeah.
people who create the sets, every detail. So when you see Lieutenant Amin navigating the starship and she's moving, like the USS Enterprise it was mind blowing. And when you sit there, every single button is real. Every single thing that's going
Nice.
on is real.
Mhm.
All of the fire that you see, the people who run the pyrotechnics call them dragon farts, but all of that is real fire. When you watch that show,
Wow.
that is real fire.
Mm.
So it is so real. It's so amazing. And they really walk it like they talk it. The themes on Star Trek of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging
Mhm.
is just present all over. My episodes were directed by Olatunde Osunsanme. He's so that's just one of those things that when you are a member of a traditionally marginalized, historically excluded community, it gives you a lot of relief to walk into a place and see people like you, to
Yes.
see people of color in leadership roles. And the
Mhm.
way he ran the set was just beautiful. I'll ask you if you want to try it a different way, but to be able to do the show, have the stunts that you're doing, have the real fire going off, be a part of a team, know that you're a part of an amazing story. Never mind also as an artist, you're watching people like Soniqua Martin Green and Michelle Yeoh
Mhm.
do their thing. And it's just like,
Yes.
it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life and one of the biggest examples of how powerful of a manifester I am, because I had that on my vision board that I would be on Star Trek. And then when I was invited to do it, it was in such an iconic way to be a navigator of the Enterprise. I mean, wild.
It is. I mean, tell you the truth that when I became an actor after hiatus from college, and I found out about Starship Farragut, this fan film that I thought was going to be a one-time deal because I was just a background character, and they said, "Would you like to be part of this?" Because originally I just shot the camera, and then they said, "Well, we're doing some bridge scenes up in Port Ticonderoga, New York. Would you like to be in this?" I said, "Am I going to get killed?" And they said, "Nope." I said, "I'm your man." And it went from one line to being in the rest of the series for all those years. In fact, being on that set for an entire week was like going to space camp for me. And
Yeah.
then they asked me to name my character, and I named it after an NROTC instructor and JROTC instructor who was a focal point of my life. And I felt that anytime I get to talk to an actor who did the similar role as a helmsman on Star Trek, it's like I gotta write to them, I gotta talk to them because we are brethren now. And to see you as an African American, a BIPOC actor on that role in the same chair as I am on a different ship, it's like, you know what? I have to pay tribute to Samora because for the first time in a long time, we see ourselves in the hot seat, seeing ourselves on this iconic set, in this iconic series, in this
Oh, yeah.
iconic universe. And for us as fans to actually do it, it just brings a new level of respect for the people who would love to do it but never had a chance, but we actually done it.
Oh,
And it felt like going on the coattails of Nichelle Nicholas because I tell you the truth, when they promoted my character to commander in the last short I did, and the first thing when I read the script is like I get to sit in the captain's chair, and it's like other than Shaniqua, how many African Americans have you seen in the captain's chair of any Star Trek? So I thought of Michelle, I thought of Paul Winfield, I thought of
mm-hmm.
Sinatra, and to put my
Mm-hmm.
butt in that chair before the closing minutes is like no words can not describe it, you know? No words.
Actually, though, words can't describe it. And this is why representation is so important. And I know that we've been
Yes.
talking about it for a few years now, but it continues to be important because the little version of you, the little version of me, and any small child who is Black, is of color watching it actually does get to think, oh, that could be me. It has a really, really important impact. I just got goosebumps again.
Me
So you
too.
walking onto that bridge made me feel really special because A, it was a manifestation of something I had wanted to do forever, and B, I knew that it would matter. And to this day, I still get letters, gifts
Um,
sent to me from the fans of Star Trek. And so many, the one of the most touching things, other than the letter that you sent, was this woman
mhm.
in the UK who has biracial children. And she wrote me this beautiful letter about how meaningful, and it was a really more very private letter. So I never shared that letter.
Right.
Um, about how much it meant to her daughters, and that she held her daughter up and said, this girl on screen is like you. Her mommy is white and her daddy is Black. And it was so, her little daughter, Aida, and it was so
Oh,
meaningful and touching to me because a lot of the times when you look the way that I do and you're quote unquote ethnically ambiguous, you feel
mhm.
sometimes you don't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
And now I understand that that's a part of my purpose, is to continue to raise the awareness. So I'm always talking about that, focused on inclusivity, making sure that every single person in a place can feel included. So being a part of Star Trek and getting to step into that outfit and that world and get to know that it means more than just an actor booking a role is so amazing, and an experience you never forget, as I'm sure you will never forget.
Exactly, exactly. So, what was your memorable moment of filming Discovery or Q&A? What was your memorable moment for you?
My memorable moment. There were so many memorable moments. It's so tough. Okay. The most memorable moment, aside from playing the characters. Okay. Can I have two? Can I have two?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Two memorable moments. The one memorable moment was personal and professional. I had my birthday on set, and I'm not that person who tells everybody, but somehow they found out. So we were doing a rehearsal. We're doing a rehearsal, and I'm sitting there at the helm. And for those of you who aren't actors, you do a little rehearsal so that the entire team, camera, and everybody can plan what's going to happen. And in that rehearsal, everyone is there. And Star Trek is a massive show. It's a huge budget. The production value is beautiful. It's stunning. Your fans already know they love Star Trek, so you get it. Yeah. There's hundreds of people. And then suddenly they all wished me a happy birthday, and there's all these artisans and craftspeople and actors and directors that I admire wishing me a happy birthday while I'm sitting in Lieutenant Amin's seat on the Enterprise. So it was such an awesome moment. And then my other commanders who, there were other actors on the show who brought sparklers, and we were out near our trailers and we did sparklers for my birthday. I did not tell anyone it was my birthday. So that was one of the most memorable moments for me personally, was to be wished a happy birthday sitting on the Enterprise by the entire Star Trek team. So phenomenal.
Nice.
Anyone here who wants to send me a birthday gift, it's December 5th. And then the other really most memorable moment of Star Trek Discovery, my time as Lieutenant Amin, was we did a 2-part finale that year. And those of you who have seen it, it was some of the best Star Trek ever. So amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The last episode, sitting on the Enterprise, and everybody is there. We're all there, the entire crew. Yeah. And this feeling of, oh, we did it. We weren't even acting, because we thought we were going to die. If anyone watched that, and like Sonequa Martin Green is like so altruistic in the episode, and she has to go off, and we're all there to support her. Like, I got goosebumps again. Like, she is such a phenomenal actor. It's not even funny.
No kidding.
Yeah, that moment felt so real. Like, there are moments in acting that you really transcend, and you're not acting, you're just living.
Yeah.
And that last finale episode, the final moments where the crew is there and we know that we've done our job and we're looking out to the great beyond, and we don't know what the future holds, but we're excited about it and we're ready for it. Yes. And my character is here. And then the boom, 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 eyes come up. Captain says, hit it. And we go, and you're on my character's face. That I'll never forget how that felt.
Yes. I love that moment. Brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, it's so beautiful as well. It's so beautiful.
Now, let's take your character out of the picture and put you in the hot seat. If you, Samora, were on the bridge of a starship, and I see you working at a station on the bridge, what bridge station would I find you working at? Would you be the same, or would you be at a different one?
That's such a good question. I mean, there's so many parts of you that want to answer. Your ego wants to tell you you'd be the captain.
Right, of course.
I think I would be a very good captain. I'm extremely cool under pressure. Yeah. So that would be good. Is there a snack station? I feel like I would be really good at it.
We can make a snack station.
I don't know if I would be navigator, because in real life, I am a leader. But if we're out in the world, don't follow me. I don't know where we're going.
I can understand.
I'm so grateful to have Google Maps and Waze. I'm going to say captain. That's going to be my answer. That's my manifestation. Awesome. I'm an incredibly good leader. And you got to sit in the seat, as you say. And Anson Mount was our amazing captain. He's phenomenal on the show. Yes. But I did sit in the seat after we wrapped, and it's my most liked photo on Twitter. It's so awesome. I'm in the the waist high leather boots that Gersha Phillip created. I'm one of the only characters who wore the little skirt. So I did get to sit in the captain's chair. And I'm going to tell you, what they tell you about the captain's chair on Star Trek is real. It's a very powerful place.
Yes.
It really is, isn't it? It has a feeling associated.
No lie. It's like once you get in that center seat, you see everything around you. You feel there's no set. It's a starship.
Yeah.
No
Absolutely.
question
The Lord
about
of the
that.
Rings has the ring and it has the
Mhm.
power to turn you bad. The captain's chair on Star Trek is a powerful seat, but it's a force for good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we're going to go into what's something I recently done with another pilot from another ship just recently. We're going to go into some quick questions. Just think the first thing that comes to your mind, all right?
I love this part.
All right. Your favorite summer spot, vacation wise.
The beach,
All right, which beach?
any beach.
All
I'm with a
right.
book. I found a place that's in the shade, but it's near the sun and it has water that you can get into.
Awesome. Your favorite movie that you watch all the time, no matter what time it comes on, you want to watch this movie all the time.
There's three of them. Number
Okay.
one, The Godfather. Number
Mm,
two, Heat. Number three, Notting Hill.
wow, great choices. Great choices. If you could have dinner with anyone famous, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh, that's so tough. Past or present?
Past or present? Yes.
Oh, if I could have dinner with anybody, I would pick to have dinner with my grandmother who
Oh,
passed away a few years ago. But if I were going to pick like a figure that other tons of other people know,
mhm.
I'm just going to go with my gut right now because I didn't name one of his films and I feel bad about that. Denzel Washington.
I interviewed Denzel Washington, and that was one of those moments where it's like, don't think, Dean, don't think.
He is the goat. Absolutely the goat.
Absolutely.
And really, Denzel Washington's films, let's just say, I
Mhm.
will watch them anytime that they come on. Those three I named are just movies that are like my quote unquote favorites. But
Yep.
Philadelphia came on recently. I watched it.
Mhm.
Training Day, The Man Can Do No Wrong. The new Gladiator film is coming out. He's the only actor who, no matter what genre he's in, it's going to be a phenomenal film. The guy doesn't
Absolutely.
miss. The guy does not miss.
No, it
So I
does
just went
not.
with my gut on that one. I'm going to not be intellectual. I'm not going to pick a thought leader. I'm not a political leader. And I'm not going to pick anybody except for the GOAT, my acting inspo, Denzel Washington. Let's have dinner.
Awesome, awesome.
Vegan
It,
soul food. I'll take him for some vegan soul food.
hey, vegan soul food is good. If you had a choice between cake, pie, or ice cream, which would you choose?
Cake, cake. It's always going to be cake.
Well, as Sonequa said on the show, cake is eternal. Which kind of cake? What
Oh,
flavor?
oh, I like a cake that's sweet and tart. So I love like a lemon drizzle, like a blueberry pound cake
Oh,
with a tart lemon drizzle. Yeah. Like I'm about that life, Dean. I'm about that life.
never heard of this cake. I need to try it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can send you recipes if you hit me up later.
Oh, please do.
And
If
I'm not
you
that person who likes 25 ingredients and a 2 hour recipe. If you ever hit me up for a recipe, it's going to be something you can make quick and be in
Mhm.
your mouth soon.
You mentioned this plenty of times during the interview, snack station, snacks. What's your favorite snack of all time?
Oh my gosh, a favorite snack of all time. That's so tough. Some of the snacks I love are really healthy. I love a date with tons of peanut butter on it.
Hmm.
I love a fruit snack. I love romaine lettuce boats with hummus and cucumber. I just love all kinds of snacks. Like, yeah, that's those are pretty much my snacks. I hope that's not boring because they're kind of healthy, but that's the truth.
Awesome, awesome. What was your childhood dream job growing up? Your childhood dream job.
My childhood dream job.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, I would put on shows in the backyard and I would cast my siblings in roles and I would cast the neighbor kids and I would charge the parents and the other neighbors to come and watch the shows. And we did everything from Spice Girls to Lion King to
Mm.
Aladdin. We did one of my first original works was called Big Baby and Dog Child. My sister played my
Ah.
mother. Our dog played the baby. Dog child was dog child. That goes without saying. And I was the big baby. That was an original show. It sold out. I charged everybody $1 to come and see it. I felt rich. Back then you were rich. If you had 50 bucks, I remember I actually felt
Hmm.
rich. I took everyone to the movies. That is one of my core memories. So I think always this was in line. And I say this often to my community, my peers, when I'm talking to my actor friends, and even to my students, it's such a hard job being an artist entrepreneur and there's a lot of rejection involved.
Yep.
So if you don't love it, if it's not your passion, then you could probably find something else to do. But when I think back on those childhood memories of always organizing choreography, making my little brother play Ginger Spice,
Nice,
I think
nice.
this is what I was meant to do.
Oh, yes. Favorite color?
Most of my clothes is black, but I'm going to say pink.
All right. And the last quick question. What is your favorite genre of music? The one you love all
Ooh.
the time.
The music I listen to all the time might be surprising to some. I'm a hip hop girly. I
Mm,
love to listen to hip hop. I'm a big playlist person for whatever mood I need to get into. So
yep.
whether I'm working out, going on set, need to feel confident, I listen to hip hop. Now, I like the kind of hip hop that's very storytelling and is excellent writing. So a Bun B or the UK rapper Gigs, these are people who are going to give you a Missy Elliott. I was just listening to Missy Elliott working out the other day, and I was like, oh man, I remember going to that concert and feeling so empowered. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm that hip hop girly, Bone Thugs and Harmony, like, you know, that song No Surrender, if you ever need to feel badass, Bone Thugs and
Hmm.
Harmony, No Surrender is one of my go-tos. Pop, pop. It's
Yes.
like you are just ready for anything, absolutely anything. And then I'm a chameleon that way. There's so much good music out there. I love The Clash is one of my
Mm,
favorite. I love a really good anything that's high energy is what I really like. I'm not that big into pop. I got to be honest with you. There's even
okay.
country on my playlists for work. You know, depending on what your character is going through. Like when I played Sarah,
Yep.
there was a lot of Dolly Parton and
Nice.
Johnny Cash, the
Mhm.
older stuff on that playlist. Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. It's all about
Oh,
whatever
yes.
energy you want. Yeah, that's like one of the best songs of all time.
Absolutely.
Of all time.
And thank you, Luke Combs, for bringing Tracy back, bringing that song back, bringing those 89 buys back. Thank goodness for Luke Combs.
I was in tears during that live performance because Tracy
Yes.
Chapman is such a good songwriter and performer. So yeah, my number one, if I'm driving around, you see me in the car, the sunroof's open and I'm in my mode, it's mostly hip hop, but I
Mhm.
listen to it all.
Awesome. Oh, what else can I say except Samora, thank you so much. This was a
You're welcome.
wonderful, wonderful interview.
Thanks. Well, what's your favorite kind of music?
Oh, now you put me on the spot. Okay. Okay, so cake is the three, and it's red velvet cake. I love red velvet cake.
Oh,
Summer vacation spot, also the beach. Hawaii. I went to this white sand beach and I trekked down and went down this crazy corridor to a black sand beach, which, oh my gosh, I have
I've never
never
been to
been to.
one.
Yeah, I've never been to one before, but when I went to one, and even though the terrain was rocky, it was worth it.
Nice.
My childhood dream, Giles, there was two. It was being an astronaut and being a game show host. And I've done
I
both
would
of
come
my
on your
life.
game show any day.
I appreciate it. Yes, I do game shows at the sci-fi convention, so that's why I'm doing my game shows now. Favorite
Nice.
movie I watch all the time, it's definitely the original Top Gun 1986. I love Tom Cruise, and that was one of the reasons I went to ROTC, and I do have a call sign thanks to my time in Starfleet. It is The Mentor.
Nice.
Let's see, anyone dinner famous? That's a tough one because history buff, I love history. But I would have to say there's a tie between two, Martin Luther King and JFK. I would love to have dinner with
Ooh,
those two
so
because they
cool. Those are
were
great
in their
choices.
prime and they've done so much for the country and the world. Favorite snack, hands down, it's sunflower seeds and Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, the Reese's peanut butter. Okay, I'm plant-based, Dean. So I
Yeah.
eat plant-based food now. There's a world where Reese's cups are like in my childhood after Halloween, it was like get in where you fit in with it when it comes to Reese's cups. We would have to dump our bag out. My dad would be in there like grabbing anything orange. A Reese's peanut butter cup, that's the most delicious. If I could eat that, still I would just, oh my gosh, they're so good.
Absolutely, yes. And blue is my favorite color. I love blue. In fact, I'm actually going to paint my new room blue for the first time.
Nice.
And the name of the color, and I kid you not, is called the Sea of Tranquility.
That's good. This color here in my place is based off of a sunset because I think your home base should
Oh,
have some calming, tranquil energy. So Sea of Tranquility. I like that.
yes, absolutely. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, this is our 15th anniversary of the Rogers Review. Can you wish all of us at the Rogers Review a happy 15th anniversary?
Rogers View,
Review.
Rogers Review. I knew that that was right. We're on a tenuous Zoom connection here. The
Of course.
Rogers Review.
Yes.
celebrating 15 years. I hope as you celebrate your 15th anniversary, you really allow yourself to feel what a big, huge accomplishment that is. I'm so excited to have been on the show, and here's to future interviews and lots more success.
Oh, there's going to be future interviews. That's definitely going to be a good. And folks, we're going to put Samora's Instagram and Twitter and her website, SamoraSmallwood.com is where you find her. Catch up on so many of her projects. And don't forget, see her on Apple TV Plus's The Big Cigar. See her on the upcoming third season of the Hallmark Channel's The Way Home and her future projects to come. For my fellow pilot on the Enterprise, this is Dean on the scene on the Farragut. Until we meet again, my friends, see you out there and have a great summer, folks. Bye for now.